Hello, Gene Schwimmer here. Welcome back. Today I want to talk about wealth and capitalism. The two are obviously very closely related, wealth and capitalism. What I want to specifically talk about is this notion among some people that there is something wrong with pursuing wealth. I'm going to explain why I think it's not wrong, why I think it's right, but I'm also going to talk about why it doesn't really matter, because capitalism is a system that forces people to do good to others if they want good done unto them. I guess you could say capitalism is the greatest enforcement mechanism for the golden rule ever created. I was inspired by the Pope, something that he said, as he often does, and as many people do: don't think about pursuing wealth. Think about helping your fellow man. My point is that capitalism is the way that you help your fellow man. I want to go into a little detail on that. So I'll start with, well, first of all, it's obvious in this modern society, if you want to help people, you need money to do it. And to have money to do it, the government, believe it or not, they take money only. They do not create wealth. They can only take wealth from other people and use it for their purposes. Now, we can argue about whether the government should be taking wealth to do these things or how much they should take, but they can't take anything if the wealth isn't there. So wealth has to be generated. So that's a logical contradiction right there. You want to do all these things, you need wealth to do it, but then you're telling people not to think about pursuing wealth. There are other people that think that the government does create wealth, and not by providing a service. Well, actually, you can make an argument that they do, to the extent that government provides a service protecting our liberties without interfering with our liberties, protecting our borders, protecting our property. They are performing a service, and for that they should be paid. But even then, they're not really generating wealth, but they're allowing us to generate wealth ourselves. So that's a little distinction that has to be made. But there are some people that think, and especially now in this era of the Green Deal and free college for everybody and Medicare for everybody and everything for everybody, whatever you want, unless you're a white male like me, then you don't get anything. But for everybody else, you can have whatever you want, and the government can just print the money. Now, what they don't realize is that money is a commodity. It's a little piece of paper with some ink on it, and it's worth a fraction of a penny. Where the value of money comes in is as a function, as a store of wealth, as a way to transport wealth. So I don't have to trade a bushel of wheat to the butcher for a pound of hamburger. I don't have to figure out what each supplier of a service or a product that I wants in return, and then find a way to create that product or provide that service. We have something called money that everybody wants, and then we can pay money or accept money and then use it to get the other products and services that we want. That's all it is. And that's why the value of the dollar goes up and down, because it's not tied to any, it used to be tied to gold. Now it's not tied to anything. It's really worth what anybody thinks it's worth on a particular day. And like any other product, the more you have of a product, the less value it has. That's why you can't just print money. You print a lot of money, then the money just becomes worth less. If you work an hour, you produce an hour of work, whatever that is worth. If you're getting $10 bills for that, and then you get $15 for that without producing any more than you did before, then each individual dollar is just worth less than it was, because it's being used collectively as a way to transport the same amount of work. And unless you increase productivity, all you get is inflation. And that's what a lot of our friends on the left, especially on the far, far left, don't understand. And in fact, the farther you go to the left, the least they understand that. But the main point I want to get to is the beauty of capitalism. So I want to tell a story that Walter Williams tells. Walter Williams is an economist, and he's a professor at George Washington University. And he tells the story of a little boy in the candy shop. The little boy goes into the candy shop, and he goes up to the owner, and he sees the candy in the display, and he says, "I want that piece of candy. I'd like that piece of candy, please." And the owner says, "Well, I'm not going to just give you a piece of candy. If you want that candy, you have to go out and you have to do something to serve your fellow man. You have to serve your fellow man, and then you have to bring me the proof that you did something to serve your fellow man. You bring me the proof, I will give you the candy." So the little boy, he goes out, he walks up and down the street to the neighborhood looking at people to help, and he sees a man mowing his lawn. And he says, "Can I help you?" And the man says, "Yeah, you can help me. I'll mow the lawn. Here's a rake. You rake up the grass." Because that's, I guess this is an old story, because now you have these electric mowers with the bag on the mower and the blower, and it just collects the grass. But in my day, powered lawnmowers were a new thing. So it was just push the hand mower, and then you take a rake and you have to rake up the grass, and then you have to put, and no plastic bag either. I forgot what we did with it. You just put it in the garbage can. So the man says, "Yeah, you can help me, and I'll mow the lawn, and you just rake up the grass, and we'll work together. We get it done faster." So the little boy helps him, and when he's done, the man says, "Thank you very much. Here's a quarter." And the little boy, he's very sad. He goes back to the candy shop and he says, I want the candy." And the man says, "Well, I told you what you have to do. You have to help your fellow man. You have to bring me proof." And well, you can kind of see where this story is going now. It's not one of these mysteries where you have to really work hard to guess the ending. The little boy says, "Well, I don't have proof. I helped him, but all he gave me was this quarter." And the man smiled and said, "That's your proof. That quarter is the proof that you helped your fellow man." And that is what capitalism is in a nutshell. It's a system that forces you to follow the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. If you want to get something for yourself, you have to provide a good or a service to somebody else. If you help a lot of people, then you get a lot of quarters. Jeff Bezos is not worth $80 billion. Well, he's not worth $80 billion because he got divorced. That's one reason why he's not worth $80 billion. So he's now worth $40 billion, or half of whatever he's going to have when the divorce gets settled. So I guess if you're his girlfriend, you should feel proud of yourself. You're worth $40 billion. I mean, that is something to be really proud of. And Jeff Bezos, to him, this is the beauty of capitalism. She is worth more than $40 billion because that's the essence of capitalism. Nobody's going to trade a dollar bill for another dollar bill. Nobody's going to trade a bushel of wheat for another bushel of wheat. The price of a good or a service is the point at which somebody is getting enough more value of what they want than what they have, and the other person is getting the same result. And that's the beauty of the capitalist system, because any kind of a trade, you're not trading something of equal value to what you want to trade. You're trading for something of more value. If I give you $1 for, since we're talking about candy, for a candy bar, that means that that candy bar is worth more than $1 to me. And if you agree to sell that candy bar to me, that means that my dollar is worth more to you than that candy bar, probably because you have a lot of candy bars. So one candy bar more or less is not going to mean anything to you compared to what a candy bar would mean to me if I have no candy bars. And then you can use that dollar to go out and buy something else that you will find to be of more value than your dollar. That's basically how capitalism works. But as I was saying, it forces you to follow the golden rule, to do exactly what I just said. You have to provide something that will make somebody richer, to give them something that they value more. And somebody must do to me the same. Everybody wants to improve his life, and there are only 3 ways to do it. Number 1 is to, say, if you want a bushel of wheat, is to go out and grow your own wheat, but then you don't have time to do anything else. You spend all your time doing that. There are other things you need, and you won't have time to produce those, and the bushel of wheat is only going to take you so far because you can only trade it for something else you want to somebody else who needs and wants a bushel of wheat. That's why we have money. Money is a universal store that everybody wants because they can use it to buy other things that they want. So that's one way. The number two way is to steal it. If you're stronger than somebody else, or you have enough weaponry on you and the other person doesn't have any weapons, you can just seize whatever you want. But then in a world where everybody has to take whatever they want, then it's survival of the fittest, and that means, just like the movie series, the Highlander, in the end there can only be one.